Welcome to the Heart of Giving. I have to tell you, I just love bringing these nonprofits to you. Just hearing them talk and hearing the commitment and the joy that they get just seems to spread joy to others. And so today, as always, there's no problem at all in what we're going to be talking about because they do exactly that. And our first segment today is with the Guidance Center. And Patrice Gonzalez is here and Tim Saylor. And I'm going to let you ask Tim to talk in just a minute. But let's start with you.
Okay.
The Guidance Center could be so many things. And you need to let us know, because just talking to you, the scope of the problems that you deal with and the type of students that you would have would just be so difficult to help, but so needed in the community. So tell us what the Guidance Center does.
Thank you for asking that. I know our name doesn't always specify it, but we provide mental health services to kids in our community who desperately need the help and who without us would have no place else to go. Children who are in the foster system, who've been abused, who are homeless, who were drug exposed, horrific stories that we hear. And we serve 2,400 of them every year, and they come to us and we help them to find hope.
What you just said covers so many things. And when you say that it's with mental problems, it's situational problems that they have. It isn't necessarily, well, it is, it's all in the head.
Well,
but I mean, their existence has made them have the problems that you face.
correct. That's very much true. With kids' mental health services, they do have what we would call a mental health diagnosis, but their circumstances are what bring them to us. And you know, it's not surprising that a child would have traumatic symptoms or be very depressed if they've been abused and they're in and out of the foster care system. So yes, we do have a mental health diagnosis and we do help them with all of that, but really it's very often their lives that have brought them to us.
To the world in the right way.
Correct.
I see.
Correct.
Now, you have a new location.
We do.
And I need to know how long you've been in the city and when you moved and how you got there and the support you get. So just start.
The new building's my favorite story right now. We've been in Long Beach since 1946, actually. We have a
Has it always had this name, the Guidance Center?
No, it was Psychiatric Services for Youth originally, and then the Greater Long Beach Child Guidance Center, and then the Guidance Center.
Okay.
But we were housed at Miller Children's Hospital for many, many years. And then the demand for our services was so great, we just significantly outgrew that building and had 4 different locations in Long Beach, as well as Compton, San Pedro, and Catalina. But we really didn't have a visible enough presence, and we weren't in the heart of the community that we serve. So for 3 years, we were looking for a building that could be our new Long Beach home, where we would be right in the neighborhood that needs us most, where we'd be visible and accessible, and clients would know we were there, and we could have health fairs in the parking lot so they weren't afraid of us. We wanted to really, really be perceived as a neighbor, so that, you know, a mom who needs help with her child, oh, I remember them. I walk past their clinic on my way to the grocery store. So for 3 years we looked for this building, and we finally started construction a little over a year ago and moved in 3 months ago, and it's been just a remarkable experience for us.
And where is it?
It's right on the corner of Anaheim and Pine at 1301 Pine, and you can't miss it.
That's right.
I call it our big green apple. It's very bright green, and you know, I say I wouldn't paint my house that color, but the point was for the kids. The kids love that color. They see it and they have smiles on their faces. And when you walk in the building, there's orange on the wall and green and blue, and the kids feel like when they walk through the doors, oh, this is a place for me. Because it's scary to come to therapy. It's scary to come and to be asked to talk about being homeless or being sexually abused. It's a hard job
Oh,
to
yeah.
come to therapy.
And to reveal yourself.
Yes, yes. And they haven't had life experiences that make them inclined to trust someone. So to have a building that looks so welcoming to them and is so clearly designed for them, I think really helps us with those initial steps of helping them to feel safe there.
What ages do you deal with?
We see from newborns actually to age 18. We include the whole family in treatment, but we do have more and more very, very little ones lately as well. And we have very specialized treatment so we can help them too.
If a mother or family has a child that has behavioral problems, too aggressive, and are those, they would not have the mental problem as much as they would have the behavioral problem.
We see them as well. A very significant portion of our kids come to us because they're getting in trouble. They're getting in lots of trouble at school or at home. And, you know, kids don't sit down and tell you I'm sad. So maybe, or that I'm anxious. So very often it is through their behavior that they tell us. So a child with a behavioral problem may actually have something that's bothering them or worrying them.
And what do you do with a child like that? Or, I mean, the procedure is the same, I'm sure, for all children. You assess them first.
We assess them first. We have an access department. We assess them. We meet with the family. We talk to the child. We talk to the schools. We really try to get a full picture of everything that's gone on. And then we work with the child and the whole family to address the problem, because typically you do need to include the whole family for someone to get well.
And you can introduce Tim to us now, because I know he's president of the board,
Yes.
but we want him to tell us some of the stories that he has. So
But I'm very happy to introduce Tim. He's been our board president for 6 years now.
oh wow, is that right?
And we have really transformed our agency under his leadership. He's just been amazing. And he first came to us as a volunteer mentor to some of our children, and then joined the board after that. So.
Yeah, I was a mentor in 2000 and then joined the board in 2003.
Now, when you say mentor, what did you do to be a mentor?
I mentored a 12-year-old boy
I see.
who was receiving services from the Guidance Center.
So you have mentors for other children too?
Well,
We
Unfortunately, we used to have the program.
Okay.
And then when I became board president, the first thing I had to do was end the program because of lack of funding,
I see.
which broke my heart.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But there were probably around 40 mentors and mentees. And, you know, we were able to be role models to these children and show them things that they had never seen before, very different from their family environments.
So what are you doing now that you haven't got those? What's the service that you provide?
Well, we're still providing the counseling services. It would always be my goal to resurrect the mentoring program, because it's a great way to connect the community to the Guidance Center. I have a fellow mentor who I hadn't seen in 4 or 5 years approach me at an event and say, I want to contribute again, and now she's on the board. And so it really helps with the community awareness of what the Guidance Center does and who we help, and you see it firsthand on how you change kids' lives.
And how big is your board?
Our board right now is 18 people, and as Tricia says, we have really strengthened our board by bringing in some community leaders like First Lady Nancy Foster and Mel Marks, who used to run Memorial Care, and
Very
they
good.
really helped us with our strategic planning and culminating in our new building.
That's great. Can you give me an example? I always ask this too late, because the examples of people that you have helped through the program always is so heartwarming. So just tell me about one.
I can tell you about a little girl that we treated. She was born drug exposed. Her parents were heroin addicts, and she was in foster homes for the first 6 years of her life.
6 years.
She'd been in 8 different foster homes by the time she was 6. At that point, her dad worked very, very hard to get clean and sober for her. And so she was returned to him, and they were living together in sober living. But that was a difficult reunification.
Was
They
it
had
with
a
the
lot
father
of,
and the mother?
no, just the
Just the father.
father. The mother's out of the picture. That was a difficult reunification. She was acting out. She had very serious behavioral problems, as you would expect for her history, and he was newly taking on the role of father. So we got them in therapy together. They get individual and family therapy. They have a case manager who helps them with food banks if they need it, or after school programs for the little girl. And they have a parent partner who came in and taught the dad how to cook.
Oh.
He taught him how to brush her hair in the morning and braid it, because he didn't know how to do that. Taught him some of the basic sort of life
being
skills
parenting,
that
yeah.
he needed. So through this team approach, they're doing just amazingly well now.
Well, I just, you know, it seems like people think, oh, they're just noisy kid, or they're just, you know, they act out. But you really don't know what's bothering them to have this happen. And I just love the fact that you're there. And are you open door for anyone that might be listening to come to the place on Pine?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If we can't help you ourselves, we will find someone who can.
And also, do you have volunteers that you would like? You need volunteers?
Very much so.
Okay.
We need volunteers for this Christmas for, you know, adopt a family, because not only are these kids suffering from some of these issues, but they're also very, very poor, and they don't have the resources to
That's
have
right.
a Christmas like the rest of us. But, you know, really, I think the other thing that I want to stress with the Guidance Center is that by helping these kids today at a very early age with their coping
Yeah.
skills, we're going to prevent violence in the future.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I thank you very much for being here. It's very revealing, and it's been successful program, I know, because I've had so many people talk to me about this, and then especially since you have your new location. So thank you very much for being here,
having
Pat.
us.
Yes, thank you.
you.
Well, this has been a good day for us, and I thank you very much for watching.